And then as soon as I went to work for them, they're like, oh, by the way, we have another company and you're going to be doing work for that company too. And I had no idea about anything in that market.
I hate that.
I applied for an off-road job and I ended up working in another market also that I had no idea anything about. They're like, why aren't you producing? I wasn't hired for this. You told me after the fact. I filed for unemployment, made a little bit of money. I figured, well, I need to create a product. I need to figure this out. This has been a problem, a crook in my back, an issue that I've been having. I didn't understand why anybody was not making this product. So I figured, well, I'll make it.
Good morning, inventors, and how are you? Look, just a quick note before the show. Season 2 of the Invent With Me podcast is brought to you by the Invent With Me Patreon. Odds are you've been listening to the show for a while now and you need more information. I don't typically agree with a paywall unless it's a situation in which there's not enough time in the show or there's just more tender love and care needed to get you to the successful point with your invention where you want to be. The sign-up process is incredibly straightforward. Just go into the show notes, click on the link for the Patreon, and sign up via their safe payment platform. $6 a month connects you to the Discord, which is stacked with current inventors as well as other professionals and myself. And together, all of us are going to make sure that your dream becomes a reality. All right, guys, remember, I took the punches so you don't have to, and enjoy this episode brought to you by the Patreon. Thanks. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Invent With Me podcast, where each week we guide aspiring inventors and product creators to turn their innovative ideas into reality, learn valuable tips, insights, and success stories from people roughing it in the field of inventing so that you yourself can make your mark in the world. I'm your host, Grant, inventor of Torque Strap, a killer new spring-loaded cargo strap, a strap so easy to use, you just pull. And with me in the studio today, Mr. Jimmy Black. For the next 6 hours, Jimmy is going to speak uninterrupted about glove box aerodynamics. This can't be right. No. Okay, snail armor. Got it. The Tailgate Ultimate Flat Panels. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing fantastic, Grant. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. I'm really excited to have you here. To give everybody some background, I was on your guys' show, like 3 or 4 weeks ago? That was a blast. Yeah. And I already knew this about you guys, but in doing the show, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm talking to a couple inventors. I got to get you guys on.
It's exciting, and I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to share some stories and talk business. Maybe we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Let's dig into it. So, Jimmy, snail armor. So, first of all, I just got to set everybody up for this. Okay. I'm at the mall the other day and I got strollers, I got kids' waters, mom's water, grandma's stuff, bags. And I take everybody to everywhere in the truck because my wife's car is too small at this point with 2 kids and 2 car seats. And drop the tailgate. Wife hands me her big, stupid Stanley mug, her big, stupid Stanley thermos. And those things are top heavy, buddy. You know what I'm talking about. It's like a 5-gallon bucket on stilts. And I set it on the tailgate with one. Hey, honey, can you hold this? Yeah, sure. Set it on the tailgate. Boom. Okay, I could grab it, set it somewhere else. Boom. Grab it, set it somewhere. The third time, boom. And finally, I just chucked the damn thing in the bed of the truck. And I realized this tailgate sucks.
Yeah.
You address that problem. So take the floor. What is snail armor?
Yeah, snail armor is just a flat piece of aluminum that goes across your tailgate to create a flat surface, a flat usable space for however you use your tailgate. And I utilize the factory holes, so there's no drilling, no fabrication needed to install this. You just unscrew some of the bolts or all the bolts in some cases of the factory panels or factory openings to access some of the brackets or cameras or handle inside of the tailgate. And you slap mine on top and then you screw it down. And now you have a perfectly flat, usable workspace on your tailgate.
It's so true, man. I don't care if it was the plastic bed covers from the 90s, back when I was working with my dad, or the spray-ins, whatever. those plastic ones were the worst. They had those really deep grooves in them, so you'd get like debris and nails stuck in between. You can't cook on it, you can't clean on it, you can't work on a drone on it, you can't even set down a Stanley thermos on it. So how did this idea come about? What was the aha?
Yeah, it was really COVID. Well, it was a little before COVID, to be honest, because I did start working on this in early 2019, and then COVID kind of really pushed me over to get it going, because I was doing a lot of car camping, which our market calls it overlanding, and we were just going out and going camping and having a great time with the family. And my camp stove, which is the Coleman 2-burner green standard camp stove, the feet are like little indents down that pop up, so it holds it ever so slightly elevated off of whatever surface it's on. The feet did not line up with anything on my tailgate, and so the stove was constantly at a funky angle. And which is fine for like pasta when you're cooking a big dish, or a big pot of water. But when you're doing eggs and it's always running to a corner of the pot, it's just annoying. And so I'm like, I can solve this. Like there was another thing out on the market, but it was all plastic. And I'm like, I don't want another plastic piece back here. Somebody needs to make it out of metal. And I did a lot of research. I'm like, there's got to be somebody else out here that makes this out of metal. Like, why doesn't anybody have it out of aluminum or something else that you could just put on the back of your truck? And nobody had it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll create one. Like, it's not that hard. And so I drew it up and worked with a good buddy of mine that knows CAD, and we kind of drew it that way. And we created the first prototype, and I'm still rocking the original first prototype on my truck today. And since then, we've haven't really altered that version for the 3rd gen Tacoma at all. And we've created, I think I'm up to 10 different vehicles now that can have a flat panel on it. And just continuously moving forward.
So, Jimmy, you created a business. You're doing something incredible. You're making a product, putting it in people's hands. Are you a superhero, or do you classify yourself as like a normal person?
I'm an average Joe.
So, you said you had a friend help you draft and draw. Eventually, you got to the point where you had to set up CNC machines, right, with CADs. So, walk me through that. Did you have a background in CNC? Anything engineering-wise? Talk about it.
No, I don't. No, not at all. I'm a networker of great friends, and that's a benefit of kind of being in a smaller niche market. Now I'm drawing everything up by myself because I've kind of a little self-taught there, and I'm working with a laser cutter. Okay. Originally, we were doing these on a water jet. And so the laser cutter cuts out the aluminum, and then I take them and I use a local. I'm in the off-road market. I'm in the off-road scene, and so I use a guy that's local to me, and he cuts them out. And he's an avid off-roader, and so I like to keep it in that market. And then I drive them across town, and I drop them off at a powder coater, and who's also in the off-road scene, and he powder coats them, and then I take them back and I laser etch our logo into it. And then one of the cool things is that I can customize panels for anybody out there, because I have this laser, and it literally just burns through the powder coating and exposes the aluminum underneath. Then I can put this giant like torque strap logo across the panel for anybody that would be interested in a nice torque strap logo.
I am 100% interested. You know what? You mentioned that you didn't have one for the Silverado, and I didn't realize that. So you identified, well, obviously the Overlander trucks are very specific. It's generally your Toyotas, your Jeeps, things of that nature. How much work is it for you to roll out a new model or a new size?
It's tough for me. This isn't it's not my forte. It's not my my strongest suit is to start CAD work and design that way. I'm a graphic designer for trade. I went to school for graphic design. like my snail armor logo, is just a fun drawing that I drew one day. And I was like, hey, this works, and I drew up a few of them and all my friends were like, I like that one. I'm like, perfect, let's go with it. And so like, that's the easy part. Graphic design, the websites, the marketing side of things is a lot easier for me than the CAD.
Yeah.
And I'm still at the stage where I'm using cardboard.
Yeah. Well,
And
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I'll have somebody over with maybe a Silverado or something, and I will measure it with a tape measure and a pencil and put it on paper and then take it to a computer and draw it up that way. And then I can cut it out on my laser with cardboard, like a full-size template, and then I can put it over the tailgate, and then I mark up on the cardboard small adjustments that needed to be made. And I do that 2 or 3 times, and then I'll take it to my laser cutter, and I'll have him cut out like a thin sheet of just some mild steel, cheap steel, and then I can really get a precise idea because my lasers allows me to. It has a pass-through feature. Like the laser's not big enough to cut the entire sheet at once, so I pass like I'll cut half of it, and then I have to adjust it and move it, and my movement isn't as precise as somebody that can cut it 100%. So I'll go to the raw steel version and get it more precise, and then I'll move to an aluminum version with countersunk holes and the whole 9 yards of everything that I do as like a final prototype, and hopefully that works. And then if that is an A-OK thumbs up version, I go into production.
Sweet, man. So you're made in USA 100%. That's really cool. And that's really unique to this podcast because you're dealing with a lot of people who make a better mousetrap or better way to coil up a cord or blah, blah, blah. And manufacturing in the US just isn't in the realm of possibility. But I love that your niche definitely is because as we know, now there's tariffs on any metal coming into this country. I don't know where your metal comes from. Don't really know. Don't really care. But I think it's really neat. And then my question with that is, have you kind of systemized like what are your best sellers, and do you like hold that as inventory?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually try let me back up here. One of the biggest downfalls of this market is everybody is 2 to 3 weeks back ordered. And everybody in the off-road community seems to be like, oh, you want a bumper? It's 2 to 3 weeks. You want some skid plates? It's 2 to 3 weeks. You want a roof rack? It's 2 to 3 weeks. Everything is like almost built to order.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it seems like. And didn't want that. One of the ways I wanted to be ahead of the curve and have more interest in my company is I have product and I'm ready to ship it. So if you want your stuff now, it'll take me a few days for processing and shipping and everything, but I'll get it out the door as fast as I can. And so I try my best to have stock of everything. Now I've kept track of what my good sellers are or things that aren't selling very well. And I'm now able to order systematically for each product and for month to month to month and have an appropriate stock of what I'm going to be selling. And that did take quite some time. I mean, I've been going really at it since 2020. So here we are in, 2025 now. So, I've have a few years of cataloging my sales and figuring out how much I need to be ordering every month.
Yeah, it's always tough, right? Forecasting. And every time you think of a new idea, people always say, you should do it with this or with that. Or how about putting a groove over here? And you're like, great idea. F you. You know how hard it is to predict how many people are going to buy X, Y, and Z. But I really respect your mindset there with being ahead of the curve, having inventory, saying no to this whole custom I know you do customs, but the idea that anything you order from my company is going to take 3 weeks, that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to get ahead of people. That's really cool. Is this your full-time gig or what?
No, I'm kind of a jack of all trades in a way. As you know, we run the podcast. We run the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. That's takes a lot of times. We release 3 episodes a week, which is insane. Gosh. Yeah. So I didn't know if you knew that one, but
No.
yeah, we do. On Mondays, we do our like creator spotlights or informational topics. And on Thursdays, we do just sort of general banter and talking about what my co-host Tyler and I have been up to. Like about a week ago, I got my F-250 stuck in a ditch. So, we talked, and then I had to call Tyler to come and get me. So he wanted to make sure to bring that up on the podcast and make fun of me for getting stuck. Yeah, in a 2-wheel drive truck. I'll just leave that one there. So, and then we've been doing the podcast since 2019 as well. And we've got such a loyal following that we have a voicemail segment on Fridays now where people call in and mostly correct us on things that we've said that was incorrect. But sometimes it's a lot of positive feedback as well, or telling us about their rigs and how they're building it or what they're up to. And so now that's a Friday segment as well. So it's funny because a week or so ago, we got up to 4 voicemails in our backlog. And then we came back the next week and we have 15 voicemails. So we can never keep up with the voicemail segment, it's a great thing and it's a bad thing all at once. I would love to be up to time on those, but the fact that we have so much feedback and so many loyal listeners, it's a lot of fun.
That's really amazing. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So going back to your question, is this my full-time job? It's one of my primary sources of income.
Sure.
But I do the podcast. I have a small graphic design job that I don't really work on it very much, but if people come my way, I'll accept it. And then I have a YouTube channel, but I haven't done much on it in a long time. Sail Trail 4x4 on YouTube. But I'm going to start up again because I have some things that I need to fulfill for some clients. So that's going to be rebooting here this year. And I'm going to build a pretty cool off-road rock crawler of a 90s single cab Toyota 2-wheel drive pickup. And I'm building it into a gnarly 4-wheel drive rock crawler.
That's awesome. That sounds like a fun project. I'd love to follow along with that. Well, yeah. Talk to me about Jimmy pre-2019 when all this stuff slowly started to come about. What were you doing for a career then? Just graphic design?
Yeah, I went to school for graphic design. I started my company after college. And then I didn't understand at first it's funny when you start your own business or you go into your own business, you like as a graphic designer or whatever trade you're in, you're like, I love doing this. I'm going to do this and I'm going to, have a great job. But you don't understand that you have to do marketing, you have to do accounting, you have to do all these other aspects of a business. And all I thought, I just need to do graphic design.
Right.
And I learned that lesson pretty abruptly, that I got a few clients like immediately and then nothing. Like I was like, wait, why don't I have clients? Like I'm doing great work. I'm out here in the community.
Yeah.
What's going on? And I didn't realize until a little later, that, I'm not marketing. Like I'm not selling myself. I'm not trying to get clients. I thought my work would speak for itself. And that obviously wasn't the case for me. So I had to get a big boy job. I had to put on a suit and a tie. I had to go into a marketing company and do a little bit of work there. And then I got a job at I was the director of marketing for a medical device company for like 10 years.
Wow.
And I did that for a long time. It was a lot of fun. It was very repetitious, but it was a lot of fun. We did everything from like magazine ads to like giant billboards. So it was kind of this, random scale of graphic design, which was a lot of fun. And I did get bored at that job, and because it was repetitious. It was like, hey, here's our book from 2020. Let's redesign it for 2021. And all I did was just put a new cover on it and change something on the back. And it's like, okay, done, and then it's like, move on to the next thing. So in 2017, I was so bored, I needed a creative outlet. And so I started YouTube.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at two markets. I was like, I'm really into backpacking. I'm really into outdoors. I like getting out and exploring and hiking. And I'm really into off-roading and going wheeling in trucks and fabricating. And I weighed my market, I weighed them and I looked at the kind of the marketplaces, and I was watching a lot of YouTube at the time, and I was watching a lot of like fabrication car videos, and I was like, well, I can do what they're doing for cars, and I can do it for trucks and continue that genre. And I tried that, and I did it for a bunch of years. And that's sort of what started me on my trajectory that I am now. At one point, I stopped working for the medical device company, and I got picked up by an off-road company. And they were like, we love what you're doing on YouTube. We would love for you to do it for our company. And I said, sure, but I'm not going to stop my own channel. And so we had to write up a little contract about, where the line was drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And almost immediately, like going to work for that company, the boss, the owner, and I did not see eye to eye. It was a very interesting process for me. Like, I interviewed well, they interviewed well. One of the things as a person going into a job is I feel that they need to the person that's applying for the job needs to interview the person that you're going to go work for, and you want to understand if they're a good fit for you as well.
Sure.
And it was. And then as soon as I went to work for them, they're like, oh, by the way, we have another company and you're going to be doing work for that company too. And I had no idea about anything in that market.
I hate that.
Yeah. And so I applied for an off-road job, and I ended up working in another market also that I had no idea anything about. And so I ended up spending like 90% of my time working on the other company and 10% working on the off-road one. And they're like, why aren't you producing? And I was like, because I don't know what I'm doing over here. I wasn't hired for this. You told me after the fact. And so I actually got let go from them like in 2019. And I filed for unemployment, made a little bit of money. I figured, well, if I was only spending 10 hours or 12 hours or something on YouTube, maybe if I spend 40 hours on YouTube, I'll make, 3-4x what I'm making. And that wasn't the case.
It doesn't happen that fast, unfortunately. You just drive yourself insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then when unemployment was running out, COVID hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, I need more unemployment. And they're like, sorry, you can't, like, you've used your allotment. And I'm like, but I can't get a job. Like, there's nobody's hiring right now. Nobody knows what's going on in the world. And they're like, sorry. So then I really had to figure it out. And that's when Snail Armor really was the turning point. I was like, I need to create a product. I need to figure this out. This has been a problem, a crook in my back, an issue that I've been having. I didn't understand why anybody was not making this product. So I figured, well, I'll make it. And that's where Snail Armor came about.
And you had the perfect kind of confluence of your marketing efforts needing a product to supplement and make it all make sense. I think that that's a beautiful thing, and I preached that in early episodes. Was a lot of content creators, you and I did this. I did this back in 2017 with a lawn mowing channel. You get 50 subscribers, and you start wondering, okay, so what do I do with these subs? Sell them T-shirts, hats? That's kind of cheesy. That's like, what am I going to make $1 a hat? And so none of it really makes sense. And then what happens is you start getting paid by other companies to promote their products or sub yourself out and use your skill to make money. But at the end of the day, the trickle down starts with the product, right? That's where all the money is. And we're all just trying to feed off of it. Well, you now hold the product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk to me about the product now, as far as what advice would you give my listeners who kind of have an idea, don't really know how to price it, don't really know much at all? What advice can you give them around pricing their invention or their product and margins to really have a sustainable business?
Yeah, I would. It's a good question. I I got lucky with having friends in the industry and knowing, kind of having an understanding of how much aluminum costs and how much powder coating it is. And so if you're starting like from bare bones, you don't necessarily have a great network that can help you source products. I would look at items on like Amazon and then almost double them. You need to be at that 50% markup on a product so that you can make money and you can put money back into your business and you can allocate money to marketing and maybe eventually you'll get an employee. You need to have roughly a 50% markup. And then, so look at these things like on Amazon, try to get those prices, figure out where you can source products from. And then once you start designing your product, you're going to understand how many you need to buy of each product. And then you really go out and try to get those items for cheaper from somewhere else. Maybe you're sourcing it from, Alibaba, or maybe you're getting a bulk supply from somewhere, in, Tennessee or whatever it is. But once you get your baseline, you can really start adjusting everything from there. But I think once you get to that final kind of price point, you really need to have about a 50% markup on your product so that you can really allocate the money as needed. If you're not at that mark, you're 25, 30%, you're never really going to be like working on the business. You're always going to be working in the business. And it's an interesting place to be when you can actually get employees. And I'm not there yet myself, but when you can start getting employees and you can have them do some work for you, and you can step out and you can do more R&D, or you can do more field research, or you can invent another entire product for your lineup, it's a good spot to be in a business for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So to clarify that for the listeners, well, you have a high order value item, which kind of behaves differently in pricing. And I totally agree. Like something like yours, I don't know your prices. I don't want to know them. But if you're selling like $200 items, hopefully you can manufacture them for $100, and then less shipping and stuff, sell it for $200 so that you can, quote, gross profit the $100. Now, a lot comes off of that and blah, blah, blah. A lot of times, though, inventors, they'll have a really small, inexpensive product, and say they're making it for $3, it doesn't really make sense to sell it for $6 because you have to get a ton of orders for that to really add up. And then you have shipping and other things that come in with Amazon. So I do, I agree completely. When you have a high order value item, if you move 10 of those a day, that's a lot of money. But a lot of inventors, if they move 10 units a day, it's only $20, $30. So I encourage them to build out 3-packs, 6-packs, whatever, to increase that order value, and also shoot for like a 6x, 7x on your cost. Buy it for $3, sell it for $27, with free shipping. So I just wanted to get that across to everyone. So there's no one size fits all margin for your business, though. Definitely, like 50% is a very good margin for that order value.
Yeah, for sure. There's many ways to, there's many ways to skin a cat, or whatever that saying is. And there's the volume game, which you're kind of talking about. If you have, I guess, you can take less percentage and sell more, and you're going to make the same amount of money as you sell fewer and you have a higher percentage.
Right.
So there's the volume game on that aspect. I've always felt, I didn't realize this, and maybe it's also sort of just my market, but it never hurts to be on the the higher end of pricing.
No,
I found that, the people that are like, I need to be the cheapest one on the market so that people want to buy it. A lot of people won't buy it because it's the cheapest one on the market.
Absolutely.
And it's sort of counterintuitive that way. And there are a handful of people that will buy it because it's the most expensive thing on the market as well. So there's an interesting game there as well of how and where you want to place yourself in the market with percentages and what works for the business, because maybe you can put yourself at the top tier and you really don't need to sell as many because now you're making an even better percentage. So yeah, this could be a whole nother conversation just to kind of figure out how to price people. Yeah. It's interesting.
And to your point, there was I don't know if it was a study or what, but it's kind of a saying in the jewelry business. They had a ring that was $150 and it wasn't selling. So they dropped it down to $75, still wasn't selling. So they bumped it up to $199 and it sold all day long, right? It's just perception. Same exact ring.
Right.
And look, you're completely right. A lot of people's instinct is, oh, I'm new, I'm an imposter, I'm not a professional like these people, so I'll beat them at price. But when you perch yourself with the high price, you kind of only can... You can always lower your price later if it really doesn't work out. But a high price teaches you to market better. A high price teaches you to sell better. A high price teaches you a lot. And when you get good at selling something at a high price, those months where you run a sale or your Black Fridays, whatever, those can be really crazy and still lucrative because you have that much room in the price to play with.
Yeah. Yeah. I've probably adjusted my prices 3 times in the 5 years that I've been in business. And a lot of it came from, I've actually lowered my price at one point because I was able to find a much better aluminum supplier. Sweet. And working with that. And that came with the laser cutter that I'm currently using now. And so I got a way better deal. And I said that to my clients, or to my customer base. I'm like, I'm getting a better deal, like a way better deal on aluminum and cutting than I've ever had in the past. And so I'm lowering my price. And everybody's like, what? Like, what are you doing that for? Which is probably a silly thing to do. But, when I'm able to say, like, I'm getting a good deal and I'm going to give you guys the good deal too, it really brought a loyalty factor to the company, which I thought helps. People trust me more because I'm reciprocating it to them. And then I used to have the clients pay for shipping. And only recently I've now moved to free shipping, and I haven't increased my prices with that either. Wow. So I'm biting the bullet a little bit more on that as well. And my panels, they're not small. They're not a small thing to ship. I'm shipping across the country. It costs $30 to $45 to get it, from California to the East Coast. And I was able to figure out, I'm always trying to figure out better ways to lower my prices, better ways to get a better deal. And when I'm able to achieve those, I'm trying to give it back to the customer one way or another. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there screaming and yelling like, you're an idiot, what are you doing? But I feel that I'm trying to be honest with my clients. I'm trying to help them out. I'm also, I don't know. I feel like I'm just an average Joe guy trying to help out the same community that's helped me in a bunch of years.
That's awesome. I love that. You're running your business in a really respectful, chill manner that you can sleep well at night the way you run it, right? I agree. I'm sure a lot of people would be pulling out their hair hearing what you're saying, but those are the people, and I'm kind of one of them, where we're trying to, how can I maximize volume and maximize profit? And that usually comes by way of years of not making any money, right? So you finally kind of get fed up. So have you stricken a balance with, okay, I'm making plenty of money doing it this way, I'm serving my customers well, or is it lopsided? Are you still feeling like something's frustrating you in the business?
Not necessarily lately. What's my frustration is my analytics for the most part. And this is one of the reasons that I lowered or I gave free shipping here recently, is that I'm seeing a lot of my I use Shopify. And Shopify gives me a ton of analytics, which is really a cool setup. And one of the things I'm seeing is a ton of adding my product to cart, but not a lot of checkouts. So I'm trying to figure out why that possibly is. And so one of the things I'm playing with is, oh, well, I'm going to give people free shipping, and let's see if it's the shipping costs that are scaring people away.
Sure.
So that's one of the things I'm testing. Analytics, I think, are a double-edged sword, excuse me, because you can just dive into those and look at them all day long and try to figure out how to run your company just through analytics. But I also feel like you need to step back and look at your company and run it as a person-to-person perspective, and what does a customer want compared to what do you see on paper in a way. So I like analytics. You can learn a lot from it, but I wouldn't say live your life in the analytics side.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they always say data is only good as your ability to interpret it. And you can go down a rabbit hole and you can also forget that we are the analytics. We are the data, us humans. Just like the algorithms on social media. Oh, the algorithm doesn't like that I use that song. No, we are the algorithm. It's people didn't like that song. People didn't like your joke. Your joke sucked, So I think that analytics can inspire you to think twice about something you're doing, which they did with your add to cart. But you're right. If you just sit there and you think about what numbers can I twist and what levers can I pull and what pencil can I push, you may lose sight of, oh, I just need to roll out a new model that targets Z71 Silverados. That's really what it comes down to, because I'm just not hitting enough people's parameters of value or whatever it is. Let me ask you though, I'm very interested. Yeah. Did the free shipping change that for you? I would think it would help a lot.
It's still a little too early to tell. I started it kind of at the beginning of the year, so I've only more or less ran it about 2 months now. There has been a growth, but it's hasn't been as much as I've expected at the moment. But I think I'm going to run it. I'm going to continue it. I mean, I don't know how I could go back at this point, but
yeah.
So I'm hoping it'll pay off in the long run. And I'm going to do a better job at marketing and advertising it, and say that, my $200 price is $200 out the door for you guys. And that will hopefully the free, and, say, well, free shipping, and, talk about that in the marketing side of things and some of my Instagram posts and everything. So I think I need to promote it more, and so people can get a better understanding of it. But I am seeing a small increase, in the sales from that.
Good deal. Then it's probably worth it. And you know what I always do whenever I bring on a brand owner, naturally I'm going to look at their website. I'm sure to log in on different Google accounts and stuff on your website under my own Chrome, right? So I can be retargeted by your ads and absorb that experience. So let's talk about your experience with ads, and I'll kind of chime in about, I've been seeing your ads. But anyway, do you run your meta ads? What's up with that?
No, it was one of those things where I figured I could sit down and try to learn this. As I'm a marketer, I can do my own design, I can set it up. But I've never really played with meta ads before and never got into it. And so I just, Tyler, my co-host, he runs a really big company, Moreflate. I said, who do you use? This is something I need to test and run and play with. And so I just used the same company that he's been using, and they're a fantastic company. They should I say their name? Does it matter?
Yeah,
Logical Position. They run the company really well. They can talk the talk and walk the walk, and show everybody. They have monthly check-ins, and they show you all the stats on how you're doing and how it's going. For me, that doesn't really seem to be working very well. And I'm not blaming the company. I think it's just I'm not sure. And so this is one of those things that I'm trying to figure out, because I have seen a drastic growth on impressions and people coming to my website, but I haven't seen a drastic growth on my sales. And that's where I'm getting this disconnect between people coming and putting it in the cart, but then not hitting the buy button. And so that's what I've been working with them lately to try to figure out how to do it. Now, you might be able to argue that they're not targeting the correct people, but I would say that they are because they're adding it to the cart.
Yeah.
And so, if you're just targeting random people and getting them to come to the website, they'll be like, this isn't what I'm interested in. But these people seem to be interested in it enough to add it to the cart, but they're not hitting the buy button on my end. So uh, I would say that if you're interested in hiring a company, they're a fantastic company to hire. They know what they're doing. But I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to be going with meta ads. I'm considering trying to do the Google pay per click and that way, so that when you search tailgate panel for a Tacoma, it'll be one of those bars that pops up on Google and it'll be like right there.
Yeah.
So I haven't done that at the moment, but it might be my next move is to play in that market a little bit to see how that goes. But yeah, I don't know. I think there is a drastic increase on views and visitors to the website doing the ads. So I think ads are a great way to get the exposure for sure.
Do you know what conversion metric they're using? Are they going after purchases? Are they going after add to carts? I know that's a very specific question, but that can really affect those campaigns is why I'm asking.
Yeah, good point. I'm not 100% sure. I know that they track absolutely everything. They'll have a cookie on somebody and it'll track them through the entire process. But I think, I've made it very clear that I'm hoping that the money that I'm spending on the company and the ads that I'm putting in, that we can work on getting more money than the money I'm putting in. And so I'm going to say I'm hoping that they're focusing on the sale side of things more than the viewers or the views for the website.
Yeah. Well, and it's tough on their end because you have a naturally low converting product because it is high dollar. And a lot can play into that too. It can be the website. But how much is Logical Position charging you per month just for the service of running your ads?
Yeah, they charge me $750 for the service of running it, and then I put in my own additional money into how much I want to run for the ads themselves.
Got it. Okay. Well, they're a fair price. They're not breaking the bank. But to share my personal experience with all this, I've gone through multiple meta ads managers. I've paid one $3,000 a month. I've paid one $2,400 a month. And they're all great. They all do their job. But at the end of the day, I took over it 2 weeks ago, and I'm never looking back. It is very simple to run. And here's why it works better when I'm running. No matter, I don't know a quarter of what they know about analytics, tracking, cookies, customer journey, but I know 100 times more about my product than they do. I know what videos have been hitting, what videos engage, what videos convert, what videos don't, that are just fun and flashy and showy. I know that images never connect with my customers, all these little things. And the cool thing is now Meta has these Advantage Plus campaigns, and damn it, they do better than the humans do. It's like that old story of Buffalo, whatever, against the locomotive. Your heart's going to explode before you beat the machine. And so I started running some Advantage Plus campaigns, and I just took what, ads managers, they'll take different creatives, whether it be video or image, and they'll place them in different places in the funnel, top, middle, bottom, trying to retarget and taking people on a journey. They like to push buttons because it's what they're experts at, but what they don't really like to admit is that the machine can now do it better with the AI process of Meta. It's all built right into it. So I'm now saving $2,400 a month in fees, and nothing against the guy. He was great. I still recommend him. It's just like, you're a creative mind, Jimmy. I am. We know our product. We know our people. We know our content. I think it's best to throw your videos into Advantage Plus campaigns, quite honestly. The conversion thing, like we talked about with your product, is challenging. And you didn't ask for advice, but outside looking in, I went on the customer journey through your ads. And when I see your ads, all your ads were still images. They were still images with some text on them. A little bit of motion, but it was no video by any means. And I already knew the product, so those ads kind of made sense to me. Like when I saw him, I'm like, oh yeah, Snail Trail, there's his ad. But if I didn't know the product and it was just a still image in front of me, I might have to kind of poke around for what I'm looking at, or I might have to read like 4 or 5 words before I know what I'm looking at. That's much different than an arresting video of boom, set the cup down, it falls, or boom, set the griddle down and your eggs spill over, and then boom, there's a snail armor, and then boom, it's level, and then boom, thumbs up. That can happen in a video in a matter of 3.5 seconds. And in 3.5 seconds, I was entertained and I was converted. So that was my take on the ads. It's like, why are these guys running stills? Those rarely do well. Stills do well in like a really bottom of funnel situation where it's like, I just need to know how fast it can ship to me, or I just need to know what it's made of, or I just need to know the price, whatever it is. And then the second thing, when I click through the ad, then I go to the website, it took a while for me to understand, is this just a custom order website, or can I just find my truck and buy one and have it here in 4 days? Because that's what the vast majority of customers are interested in. So I had to do some scrolling, and then I realized you do have it sectioned off. Let's pick the truck, and then let's add it to cart. And I just assumed I was going to be charged like $80 for shipping at checkout, I'll be honest. I didn't go through the full process, but I just assumed that because it wasn't clear to me. So knowing that US customers get free shipping from the get-go with a banner right when I land on that webpage, that would be huge. So you can never blame logical position for all these things because obviously your website plays into it. There's so much that goes into the conversion rate. But that was my take was, hey, you've got good videos on your Instagram. I've seen them. Take a second look at them, maybe run them as they are, maybe chop them up, make them a hair shorter, whatever the case may be. But generally speaking, companies like yours and mine that have been running for 5 years, we have a treasure trove of content that just kind of hasn't been used the exact right way. And it's just tweaking and dialing to get it to convert. So again, I know you didn't ask, but that's my 2 cents on the matter.
Hey, no, I appreciate it. I wrote some notes down. I'm going to keep track of that stuff. There's, learning as you go is the only way to get better.
Yeah.
And so, at sometimes you need to be humble and you need to take advice from a friend or somebody that, has lived this life before or is a little bit farther ahead of you. I'm very fortunate to have my co-host run a very successful, business, and I can run things by him all the time and anytime, almost all the, whenever we're around or together or a phone reach apart, and I can just ask him questions, like, hey, I'm running into this issue. What do you think? And, I forgot there's another great saying of, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you.
Yeah. Definitely.
I really do believe that that is a way to live a life, and to try to always move forward, try to always have people that are pushing you or helping you think a different direction, and just trying to move forward one way or another. And so I appreciate the feedback. It's definitely things I'll look at and address. And I think that's some good information. Thank you.
Sweet, man. You're totally welcome, and I love it. And I agree with you 100%. That's why I started the show, was like, hey, I'm not running into people that I can grow with on a regular basis. And we live in the digital era. Let's bring them here, and then let's share that with other inventors. We live in a very secretive society where, oh, my life sucks, so yours has to suck too. So I'm not going to tell you what I know. But we have a space where we can be transparent. We can take joy in helping people. And I get to learn from it too. So it's a wonderful thing.
No, I agree. I think that sharing is a great way to help yourself and help others out there. When there's something about voicing an idea that makes you rethink how to do the idea. And I think that within sharing, that's definitely how that happens. And, even just, speak it to your significant other or tell friends, and they'll give you more feedback and try to figure it out. I know that one of the things that I meant to bring up is that anytime somebody emails me or hits me up in the DMs, about, hey, do you have this product? Like, or do you make one for the Chevy Silverado? I very kindly go, I'm sorry, I don't make one at this time. But I keep track of everybody that asks. And I tell them this, I keep track of everybody that I ask. And I have a spreadsheet for all the different years, makes and models of trucks that people want.
Wow.
And my next product that I'm going to make is the next long tail that's on that list.
Right.
And then that's what I'm going to make. Unfortunately, Grant, I have to tell you, it's the F-150 is next. So I'm sorry.
Look, I'm not a Ford hater. I used to have one. They deserve it. Let them have it. But man, I'll wait around. I'll wait around.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I think the full size market is my goal for 2025.
I think it's a great idea. I feel that there's well, you know this better than I do, but I do feel that there's a lot of them out there, obviously, and yeah, with those tailgates being bigger, we really rely on them for a lot of stuff. With a tailgate of that size, you can do a very robust project on that tailgate. And when you're trying to dig your contractor pencil from between the stupid plastic grooves, it'll drive you nuts.
Yep.
All right, man.
And I'm thinking, and I don't want to go too long on this one, but I've been thinking about even targeting them differently, because a lot of my tailgates that I'm putting out now are targeted more to the off-road overland community. And I'm thinking about creating a whole nother like blog segment and a different way of writing up those products more for contractors or people, field workers, because I think that a lot of people in my market don't necessarily use full-size vehicles to go off-roading, where a lot of people that do use full-size vehicles are those like contractors, general contractors, people out in the fields. And so I'm thinking about sort of writing a whole nother version of the website just for that.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We always have these ideas for our products in the beginning, but you've done this long enough to really know and be intentional about what direction you're going. But a lot of times inventors will come on here and be like, and think about it. It can be used for dogs. It can be used for kayaks. It can be used for couples, and you can sell 2 at a time. And I'm like, well, you really only have time to market to one of those things. And I want you to market to the one where you're going to make the most money. But eventually you kind of cap out. Like I completely tapped out women buying their husbands gifts. I hit that as hard as I could. I don't know how to connect with them anymore. Like the tap is dry. So now I go and I tapped out the safety aspect after that. And now I'm looking into like just retail, because at the end of the day, people love to buy straps on the shelves. So
yeah, I think that's one thing, to start in a niche area and, start there, get to know that market, and then expand out.
Yeah.
And then figure out what's next and move forward from there. It's hard to start broad and go small, but it's easier to start small and get large.
That's a very good way to put it. Well, Jimmy, thanks a lot. Thanks for your insight. Thanks for all your help. Is there any tools, AIs, programs, editing software, anything fun that you're using right now that you just kind of want to help people out with? What do you think?
I've been playing a little bit with just AI, trying to figure out that. I think that it's going to be a huge benefit for all different types of markets, and for the people that are content creators like myself and yourself. The AI thought process it's very insane. I can type in like, hey, give me 25 podcast ideas, and it just blah, here it is. Yeah. Here's your ideas. And then you can go, hey, break down number 3 into 5 bullet points, and then it'll just give you 5 more bullet points of one topic, and it's a really interesting idea. For me, I'm a very visual person, and I hate reading, and I'm very bad at reading. I'm bad at English, and I'm bad at spelling. And so for it to be able to help me write blogs or help me write content, it's just a win-win for me.
Awesome, man. And would that just be like GPT? Quite simply,
I've been playing with a few. I've been playing with Google Gemini.
Yeah.
I've been playing with GPT, and I've been playing with one called oh man, I just lost it. It's I'll give it to you in the show notes. I'll go look at it.
Okay.
Oh man, I forgot what it is.
It's not ringing a bell.
But it's so ChatGPT is more of content, and the one that I'm blanking on is more of a like an answer. Like you go, hey, what type of webbing should I use for a torque strap, and should it be nylon or cotton? And it'll tell you like, here's what you should use and why.
Cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah. Send me a text. I'll put it in the notes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet, man. Well, thanks again for your time. Thanks for making a really cool product. Thanks for sharing the journey. And yeah, I'll definitely have you back on a later episode to kind of get updates and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And I guess we'll sign off.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me. This was a lot of fun. I think you provide a great service for all those inventors out there.
Thanks, man. And what was the podcast one more time, Jimmy?
I'm on Snail Trail 4x4 podcast, 4x4 on that one.
Yeah, check it out, guys. If you want to daydream about the weekend, that's a great way to do it while you're on that long commute to work.
Yeah, and if you want to hear all about Grant's story and torque strap, I should have pulled the number up, but it was like, what was it, 546 or something like that?
You guys got so many damn episodes. Yeah. Something like that. Just search torque strap. You'll find it.
You will.
All right, Jimmy. Thanks again, man. I'll let you hang up, and I will close out the show, brother.
All right. Thanks, man. Great chatting with you.
You too. See you, buddy.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Well, guys, there you have it. Mr. Jimmy Black of Snail Armor. I mix up his podcast and his product. What a cool guy. What a cool product. Really, guys, this process isn't complicated. It's work. It takes a long time. But look at his product, made right there in the USA with some buddies around town helping them do different tasks. If we can do it, certainly you guys can too. Thanks a lot, guys. This was Season 2, Episode 2 of Invent With Me. Remember, Jimmy and I took the punches so that you don't have to. We'll see you on the next one.